Hi, I'm Dr. Jean Schumacher, and I'm founder of Simply Plant Based, where I have several programs to help you to change your health destiny, including the Weight Loss Advantage, where I teach you how to lose weight without dieting. And coming very shortly is the Pregnancy Advantage with Dr. Deborah Shapiro, where we're going to help women if they're having trouble getting pregnant, or we want to help you get your body pregnant ready before you conceive. So today I have some amazing people here with me. Dr. Liu is an integrative environmental medicine practitioner for over 20 years, and she is the medical director of Ananda Integrative Medicine. She earned her medical degree in China, as well as PhD in Human Physiology, and completed a Post Doctoral Fellowship in Genetics on Hypertension. She's a member of 3 large WeChat groups for the Chinese North American virus, the COVID virus, and is certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine, Anti-Aging, and Regenerative Medicine. And I have Dr. Will Tuttle here, who is the author of The World Peace Diet, which is a best-selling book. It's become a movement and is featured in the movie Cowspiracy. So thank you together for both of you for being here with me today.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having us, and it's great to see Dr. Liu sharing her wisdom also.
It's always my honor to be on the call with you too.
Well, thank you. So let's just jump in because we're going to talk about the coronavirus. I mean, because that's the hot topic of today. So, you know, as the virus is quickly changing and life is changing, who thought we'd be in lockdown? Like, you know, because like I'm in New York, I'm in the hot spot of the United States. So like I'm in quarantine. And so today's April 2nd. Dr. Liu, please give us a quick update on this pandemic situation.
Yes, so I want to just, first of all, ask everyone to hold this vision of a better planet after this event. I know it's hard, but I want you to know that is coming and it's something we're all working together towards. So the news of COVID-19 came in right around Chinese New Year. And I was having a conversation with my mother, and suddenly all our friends are into this panic mode. They're showing our physician friends are getting sick. So at that time, I was like, well, this is, China. China has 1.4 billion people, and each city have a couple million. So is there a problem? It's never going to come to America, because in America, we don't have those kind of things. So in me, I was kind of like in a denial state. And then by February, I actually end up visiting Switzerland. By the time, after 3 weeks coming back, I realized it is in America. So I no longer have to, in denial. I started jumping in and learning about everything about this virus and why it is spread much faster and why it is connected to our food. This is like a bring the ugliness to everybody's vision, right? Everybody can see how it's coming into our life. And I also realized how much people need the knowledge. So by today, I have the first slide I want to show you guys is really from just the day of the shutdown, which is March 21st, when everybody was kind of like quiet. And that was 297,000 in the world. Today is 905,000. So 279,000 cases in the world. So that's a big, huge jump, right? Just within maybe not even 10 days. And then 10 days, a huge jump, particularly in New York. This is what's happening today. So back to you, Jean.
Well, wow, I didn't realize that many cases. So thank you for sharing that. Dr. Tuttle, what impact is this going to have on our environment?
Yeah, I think, everybody in the vegan movement is aware probably that animal agriculture is devastating to our environment more than probably anything else we're doing in terms of cutting down rainforests, polluting the water, depleting water, destroying ocean habitat, and also for our own physical health. And as I talk about in the World Peace Diet, our psychological and social health, our spiritual health. It's really a system based on violence, domination, exploitation of other living beings and ecosystems. And so I think in terms of the coronavirus, it's very important to understand that this is in many ways a product of animal agriculture, which is devastating to the environment. And it's been a breeding ground for a long time. This is also well understood. Not only the various types of strange things that can happen when you hyper-confine animals together, give them a lot of antibiotics and so forth, but this is going to cause the rise of resistant bacteria. And we have many other factors involved. In terms of the environmental impact of this particular pandemic, I think it's kind of ironic in one sense that it's giving a little bit of a break to wildlife. For the first time, hunters aren't out hunting them as much. People aren't perhaps bothering them as much because we're keeping ourselves indoors more. And so I've noticed the other day that they're seeing like coyotes in downtown San Francisco and all kinds of things. So animals are kind of reclaiming some lost territory maybe. But overall though, I think my hope, like Dr. Liu said, is that this will lead to something positive. I think it's really important. There's an old saying in the metaphysical movement, when something that looks bad happens, to just say, wow, I can't wait to see what good is going to come out of this, right? To try to spin it in a way in our own mind that something good can come out of it. There's a lot of suffering right now to human beings, and there's going to be more suffering because I think the economic crackdown is really is hitting people already pretty hard, and I think it's going to hit harder. So I don't want to minimize the suffering to human animals caused by this. And the other thing is to remember that the more medications are given out, those go through us and they end up in the environment again. So the less toxic chemicals there are, the better. And so I think the most important thing all of us can do to help in this whole thing is to stay healthy ourselves, to take responsibility for our own health, for the quality of our immune system, of course, for the quality of our thoughts and our feelings, to definitely go vegan, encourage people around us, obviously, to go vegan like we always do. But this is probably the best thing we can do to heal this would be to move not only ourselves, but as much of society as possible toward a whole food, organic, plant-based diet, a way of eating and living, because that creates the foundation for health in not only our physical bodies, but in the body of the world, the earth we share together. And I think this pandemic is just a manifestation of a deeply corrupted and diseased system, economically, politically, medically, socially, environmentally, culturally. This is a manifestation of that. So it's really a wake-up call, I think, for us to actually begin to make definite, serious, positive, concrete changes, the kind that Dr. Liu and you both talk about so much.
Well, I just want to comment on that because on Facebook, I've seen several posts go by about, because I think, people are starting to really feel cramped in and enclosed and feeling locked down. And then some people have posted on there, how do you think they feel in terms of the animals that are pretty much locked into a situation? So I kind of, I thought that was a great comparison to what we're feeling. At least we can move around in our house. We have that freedom of movement. We're starting to feel the closure, but think about what they're going through in terms of animals and the compassion for that. So I think maybe this might help people to see a little bit different side of that.
Good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yes.
And then there were some really profound pictures because, normally I focus on more on the whole food plant-based and changing our health, but I know that will have a huge impact on our environment. But because I just can't, I have a hard time seeing the pictures of suffering animals. I just can't help it. It makes me cry inside. And I have a hard time seeing, and it really upsets me beyond belief. I just can't see that level of suffering. I can't see an animal suffer, period. So
I'm glad you're a vegan, and I wish everyone who's not a vegan would have the same feelings, which I think we all do. Those feelings are just repressed, and we're kept. The images are kept away from us very often.
I don't think it's repressed. I think we just grew up with, hey, there's a steak in this plastic wrap. You don't realize what that whole animal went through, and what suffering that animal had throughout its entire life till it finally was killed. So now that I become aware of that, it just apart from you know, helping the animals, but I'm, you know, focused more on that, but I just can't see those pictures. It makes me so upset. Anyway, Dr. Liu, what are three simple things we should do to build a resilient baseline immune function? I mean, obviously, okay, we get it. Social distancing, personal hygiene, wash our hands. We heard that like 500 times. What are some other things?
Yes, I think one of the things is food. I want to just relay a story to you. When I was a kid in China, every time I have a cold and flu, I remember my grandmother always tell me, do not eat any chicken and do not eat any egg, okay? Which is kind of interesting because here they want you to eat chicken soup as a way to go over a cold. So I did a little bit study into the science of it. And we discovered that chicken eggs were actually used in laboratories to feed viruses. And these are animal products that is we actually, as scientists, to use to grow viruses, right? So energetically, you probably want to keep those food out of your remedy, right? Because it actually enhances the growth of, you know, viruses. So that's pretty simple when you tell people about that. The other thing is chicken and fish, again, are the agriculture animals that receive 80% of the antibiotic from the pharmaceutical company. For a while, we were blaming on the physicians. They're using too much antibiotic. But we didn't realize the chicken and fish industry actually consume 80% of the pharmaceutical antibiotic. And how many people know if you are doing antibiotic, you're trying to fight a virus, so it's really not what to do. That's number one. So keep the eggs and chicken and also dairy away. Well, why dairy? Well, dairy actually product that's really bad for our upper respiratory because it creates mucus. It enhances the biofilms by the pathogens. So a lot of people with viral infection actually have more mucus, and these mucus are enhanced by dairy product. Okay, so the first thing now, what not to do is to keep the eggs and the chicken and dairy, you know, out of your plate. You're already helping your body. Number two is stay on whole food, plant-based, particularly berry. We just learned from Dr. Grieger's recent research is they found out berry actually help the body to produce natural killer cells. Natural killer cells are one of the most important innate immune system that we need to attack the new virus, okay? Because we don't have time, we don't have the memory to produce antibody yet. So for a new virus, all we have is natural killer cells. And people say, I'm going to do zinc and nano silver and all that. Those are inhibit the viral growth. But who is going to have to take care of the infected cells, right? Mm-hmm. To eventually get rid of the debris, you know, pass on the information, all that rely on our immune system. So whole food plant-based will be the most important nutritional support, particularly berries, greens, okay? So that's the second thing. The third thing I really think is going to really help people is to take a very short walk outside. This is the opportunity. I want everybody to try this. It's called talking to the birds. I started talking to the birds and I felt this uplifting feeling that we are one with them. We are no longer us versus them. When we get the beautiful energy of love and peace and talking to the birds, we're talking to the squirrels because they are running around all over. When you do that, your spirit is uplifted and you will have better immune system to overcome fear. Because fear is really causing immune system suppression and increased cortisol levels. So 3 things people can do, very simple, to enhance their immune system.
Well, thank you. Wow, that was a good one. Excellent. Well, Dr. Tuttle, what are the hidden deep causes of this pandemic?
Actually, this is something I think it's very important for us to understand, because otherwise we're just dealing with the symptoms and not with the underlying cause of the problem. I do want to thank Dr. Liu for those 3 points, and I just want to add maybe very two more things. One is, I think every day everyone should be meditating. Take some time every day to just not do and be aware of what you are, your true nature as eternal consciousness. Realize that what we are is not just this physical body. And I think the thing to understand is, we're born into a culture of materialism, and that's really underlying this pandemic, this delusion that we're just a fundamentally separate self, this object that was born and will die, and that we have to compete and struggle against others to get what we want, and against a world which is dangerous and full of all kinds of things that are going to harm us that we can't see. We are brainwashed in many ways at a very deep level to reduce ourselves, just the way we reduce cows and pigs and chickens. We reduce them to commodities that we just sell by the pound. We get reduced in the same way. So to take some time every day to practice a quiet mind where we realize that what we are is the witness. We're aware of what's happening, and we're not just confined to this physical body. We're much greater than that. It's something that we can actually awaken to. As Dr. Lewis is saying, our body creates it's a whole pharmacy, right? Our body creates all kinds of drugs much more effectively and much more wisely, probably, than any other intelligence, because it's our own body. So if we can consciously not only cultivate a sense of connecting with nature, like she was saying, and the beauty of nature, our connection with nature, and with our own inner nature and the inner silence and eternal dimension of our consciousness, and then consciously really make an effort, especially now, to be very loving to people around us. Everyone is stressed out. So the best way we can increase our immune system and everybody around us is to tell everybody around us how much we appreciate them, how grateful we are that they're in our life. Be especially loving to everyone, because we're all in many ways suffering and wounded being born in this society at all. And then going through this right now too. The final thing, your main question, I think it's just essential to understand that the core of animal agriculture is a mentality of separation, that we are superior to animals. We're superior to nature. Nature and animals are just here for us to use. So we go around, most of the people in our society go around with a wallet, and we pay for meat, dairy products, and eggs. And so we pay someone somewhere to stab and kill and impregnate animals on rape racks and steal their babies, engage in enormous violence towards other beings. And so we keep doing that, and we've been doing that now for centuries. And so we've built a system and a whole psychology and a whole philosophy based on this sense of being separate and reducing everything to matter, and then being at the effect of these forces that we can't see that are evil. These germs and these viruses and these bacteria, they're all out to get us, and we're in a war against them. We have to have our drugs and our operations, and we have to rely on the experts. We have to mobilize our defenses. We have this whole warlike mentality. We're fighting against the world. We're fighting against bacteria we can't see and viruses we can't see. I mean, that is insanity, really. It's not the truth of who we are. And the only reason we're in this mass insanity is because we're doing that to billions of animals. We are that to them. We are the unseen forces dominating and exploiting and abusing them, and they can't see us. They just suddenly get, one day they're picked up and hung upside down by two legs, and their throats are cut, and they're terrified. It's because of us. So we have to realize something I refer to as the boomerang effect. Whatever we sow, we're going to reap. If we're going to sow seeds of terror and fear and despair and misery and violence and disease in millions of beings, those seeds don't just evaporate magically. They come back. So it's time for us to see this as a time to awaken out of animal agriculture as a society. This is the only fundamentally positive way to respond to this, and it's very positive. I mean, if we do that, if we abandon animal agriculture and say, okay, we've learned our lesson now, we create the foundation of a world of beautiful abundance, health, harmony, and healing, and it's available. This earth is beautiful. Viruses and bacteria can be our friends. I mean, they're part of the system. They can help us. They can help us clean out. So we have to realize it's really our obligation, responsibility to change our lives and come into harmony with a deeper truth that the ancient wisdom traditions emphasize.
But we just can't sustain this. Examples from history: Easter Island,
right?
Couldn't sustain it. Population gone. And we have only one Earth, and it's not like we can like roll down the windows of the Earth and like get new fresh air. We can't get to another planet, at least not now. There's no other planet around. This is it. So if we keep dumping into this and making the animals toxic dumps, the amount of waste we produce is phenomenal. That we just can't sustain this. So we have to change what we're doing. So maybe this is the big wake up call that we need. So Dr. Liu, how to support the body? What do we do if we do come down with the coronavirus? What do we do?
Well, I think after we talk about the top 3 things, first is what not to do and what to eat, and then connect with nature. I think one of the things is whenever we talk about our environment, we all have a sense, that's for the future people. Right. We're not going to benefit. We're going to just eat and we have to live our life the way we want. What I want to encourage everyone is to just try it, because the benefit, the feeling of lightness and happiness is almost immediate. Okay, so I just recently visited Helena, Montana, not the mecca of vegetarianism, right? Everybody have a gun and they all are hunters. So I had 3 women who came to me. They said when they just tried the 10-day vegan cleanse, and they immediately felt the detachment from the heavy meal they used to have. And also the feeling, there's something that immediately give them the feeling of happiness and lightness. But if they just have that couple days of that trying, just how happy your body and your spirit become, right? In this devastating darkness, heaviness, sadness, fear, when you just do the food, you can feel it right away. So, it's almost like a quick fix. I want to share with people is when I quit eating egg and dairy stuff, what I felt is this lightness. It's an immediate connection and the feeling of goodness. It's just very hard to describe. And it's so quick, I felt like, well, everybody should experience that. So basically, right now, everything is super heavy, super dark. I want people to just try to do a all-plant diet and then feel it right away. And then just watch yourself, how your body wants to be connected with nature.
Well, I have seen just in myself and all the people that I've helped along the way, I noticed for them, they start to feel better immediately. And within like 10 days, even if you're like on medications, like you're diabetic, you're going to start to see that the changes in that, or if you have high blood pressure, that's going to start to come down. So you're starting to heal your body. But if you start to think about it, like for example, dairy products, we're drinking or consuming the lactating fluid of another species. And that goes against nature. It's 100% against nature, because we actually lose a lot of those enzymes to be able to digest those, which is normal after the weaning period of your own milk, your mother's breast milk. And now we're consuming the lactating fluid down the road of another species. First of all, we're the only animal on this planet that consumes the lactating fluid of another species. So it's not for us. Last time I checked, Will, you might want to verify this, we're not baby cows, right? So anyway, well, and I just want to add to you, we talked about how to support the body, but I think if you're going into, like, if this hits you hard, like moderate to hard, to just go to bed, pull the covers over your head, let the fever run its course, because that's what it's supposed to do. It's one of the body's defenses. It's creating an environment that is inhospitable to the virus. When your head comes up out of the covers, drink some water, continue with fluids, and that's it. You're not going to want to eat. Don't eat. Let your body put all its energy towards defeating this virus. Instead of taking a lot of resources to digest food, let's put it 100% towards your defense. Okay? So, Dr. Tuttle, what might be its effects on our society and our psyches from this virus?
Well, hopefully it'll be, like I said earlier, hopefully it'll be positive. I think there's a lot of seeds, though, that have been planted that are violence and domination of animals and in our society as well. So it's pretty obvious that there are forces in our society that are using this to consolidate power and wealth. So I think we should just be aware of this. Remember, like the WHO, remember the group, the WHO, they said, we won't get fooled again. Man, let's not get fooled again.
Right?
And try to look more deeply into what's happening. You know, for me, for example, when I've been a vegan for 40 years, and I very rarely ever get sick. You know, I haven't been to a drugstore in 40 years, 50 years probably, to get any medicine of any kind. And so I don't go to doctors, I don't go to pharmacies, I just don't do any of that. And every once in a while, not that often, but now and then I get a cold, a flu or whatever, something like that. And to me, it's great. You know, it's just my body, it's time to clean out a little bit. So to me, the virus is my friend. It's just like helping me do a cleansing. I don't have any concept of a virus as an enemy. That doesn't even exist in my worldview. It's a friend. I'm doing a cleansing. No problem. I need it. And so cleanse, when you clean the house, there's a lot of dust. There's a lot of, it's not the pleasantest thing to do. But, you go through it, the body kind of contracts, it works, it gets a fever, whatever. You expel different things that shouldn't, there's a lot of toxins in our world and our bodies have to clean out, right? So it's good. We're cleaning out. The main thing to understand is there's something like 50 or 60,000 tons of toxic chemicals are being spewed every day into the environment by industries, by agriculture and so forth. And that all ends up in the water. It ends up in the soil, ends up in our bodies, in the air. So we need to cleanse. And I think that's really what this is all about. It's a cleansing of toxic chemicals that we're creating, and to just try to realize that if we want to create a healthier society, we need to change our food, like Dr. Liu says. Go to organic is very important. Organic, whole food, all plant diet and way of living, and more compassion. And then just be aware as much as possible of the media in all of this, because the media is basically controlled, as we all know, by the pharmaceutical industry and the other large corporations. Because there's no news that is going to upset the advertisers. The advertisers pay for the media, and you're getting their story. And their story right now is fear, because fear is what sells money and products. So if we want to be healthy, we have to create our own media, which is what we're doing right now. Encourage each other not to buy into the fear, to buy into love and kindness and awareness. Support each other as best we can, and question the official narratives that are locking us into, like making us into animals, like we're livestock. We're not livestock. I mean, if we're treating animals as livestock, then we're going to become the same thing ourselves. So it's very important to go vegan, to stop imprisoning animals. If we want to be free, then we can't be imprisoning animals. If we want to be healthy, we can't be making animals sick. But that's what we're doing. So we have to change that behavior and understand at a deep level the ways that we've been wounded and lied to, and create more truthful ways of living.
It's true.
It's true. So true. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, the stress, I mean, I know that we're all dealing with a lot of stress around this environment. And what are some ways that we can cope and deal with it? And I'm going to jump in on this one first, but I want to hear from both of you guys, your thoughts on this too. For me, the stress, a couple of things that I'm doing is, because I can't control what's going on outside of my house. I can't. It's beyond my control. But what I can do is control what's in my immediate environment. That is my house, my home. So my house, I've cleaned it top to bottom. I've put away the winter clothes, and I've gotten out my spring clothes. I've organized my closet. I have taken every closet apart, gotten rid of stuff. If I haven't worn it for 3 years, it goes into the Goodwill. I have cleaned outside in my yard. I've gone out, I'm weeding, I'm getting everything looking nice, because spring is coming. I have cooked. Oh my God, I've created so many new recipes. People are going, yeah, okay, we're done. Stop making new recipes. And so I'm cooking in the kitchen. I'm making food that's going to nourish my body. And in my basement, I have created, because I don't go to the gym because we're locked down. And so I bought a Gazelle, which is a strider, and economical. It's like, compared to a lot of these elliptical machines, which could be like $10,000, this was only like $400. And it's like a cross-country stride, like skiing. So I'm using that every day, and I'm doing different exercises. I'm doing yoga, periodically. And so that's how I think keeping a schedule. Here's my schedule right here. This is each day and what I'm going to be doing each day, because now I'm back teaching in the classroom and we're doing it virtually online. So I have a schedule of everything that I need to accomplish for the day. Everything is scheduled so that I have a purpose. And so keeping my head sanity, my whole being is keeping busy and not just sitting around going, woe is me, I'm bored. No. I'm utilizing this time to learn new things, to create new things. We're trying to get the pregnancy advantage online and get that going. So I'm looking at this as a golden opportunity to have time to do the things I need to do. So what are you suggesting to help with stress?
That's fantastic. I want to put in some insight about the economy. I think this is actually a wake up call also about the automation, technology have advanced our world, and the traditional jobs, people need to think about alternatives. For physicians, we're taught to start looking at telemedicine, which is actually have been pushed for a while, but people don't like to do that. But telemedicine have a lot of value. People have better access. They can decrease traffic, consuming of energy that's driving around and causing pollution. A lot of the things can be work at home. I also think lifestyle medicine is becoming more and more demanded by people, because you can do lifestyle medicine safely online with a group. So I think there's new opportunities for health industry, right? So that's one thing I was looking at. The other thing I was thinking is about growing a home vegetable garden. And I saw those vertical garden before, and I just like, well, you can just get your money and go to the store and buy organic vegetable. Then one day I said, well, what about, this is a good time to think about, if the store closed, where are you going to get money? With food, right?
Right.
So vertical gardens are, just Google it. You can grow vegetables yourself, and that can provide some food for your family. And some people do better if they have a bigger house or something. Maybe they can grow a vegetable for the community and then sell it, make a living from their home. I mean, I was just thinking about that. So opportunity to have more conscious business that is providing information. Or I just had a physician call me. She's making masks to support the New York physicians. She just made 300 masks. She just sent me a video. She said I should help make up some masks. So there are lots of things open up the possibility that yes, we can create a business from home and decrease a lot of environmental impact if it's possible. Well, some job is hard, but a lot of the job, like a vegan food delivers, demand is going up, plant-based, organic, pre-made meals. So I just think people need to start making a shift instead of, kind of like sticking to the old paradigm and try to, survive that. I think right now is a time to have that creative mind to come out and pick the business that is in alignment with making the planet a better place. I think it's really exciting time, actually.
I think
so. That's what I would do.
I'm going to jump in on your comment about the vertical towers. I have one. It's called the Foodie Vertical Tower, and I love it. Yes. And it's amazing. And it's in my living room. It's a hydroponic system, and it's absolutely amazing. So I totally recommend that and sprouting. And I've got a sprouter, and there's on my website is a video on sprouting. And I did an interview with Sean Herbert, who's got a whole thing about sprouting. He's amazing. So do check those out. But sprouting is awesome because in literally in 1 week, you can have an incredible amount of nutrients from sprouts. 1 week, from Saturday to Saturday. So,
wow,
Dr. Tuttle,
I'll do it. Yes.
Share with us yours.
What you're gonna do.
Yeah, thanks. I think these are all great ideas. I would just encourage a couple of things. Yeah, we do a lot of sprouting. We lived in an RV for 17 years, so the only food I could grow is sprouts. So it's really important, really helpful. We also have a garden. We have a food forest. We've got about I don't know, we're busy with that right now. So we have about 60 fruit trees, I think, and a lot of vegetables and herbs and all kinds of stuff. So we're busy in the garden and getting a lot of food already from that. So I think the more we can grow our own food, the main thing I would emphasize really, I guess, to answer your question, to be healthy and relieve stress, number one is just attend to the quality of our consciousness all the time. Be aware of your thoughts and feelings, and consciously make a practice of the first thought in the morning is a thought of gratitude for another day to grow and to learn and to develop our awareness, and to keep that going throughout the day and give thanks for this beautiful life that we have. We have challenges, but the challenges are opportunities to grow and to learn and to help others and to keep a positive mindset, because that's really the foundation for developing more wisdom and compassion and understanding. And also to refrain from criticizing other people. People are wounded, and when people are wounded, they do things that aren't in anybody's best interest. But when someone's wounded, you don't kick them, and you try to, love is what heals. So to really understand the importance of love. And then the second thing is that the whole system, a lot of this is based on trying to consolidate power in a central place. So that just a few people control all the money and all the power and so forth. And that's what's and control the flow of information and control the narrative. So this is the main issue. So we are called now to decentralize that as best we can by growing our own food, supporting local farmers, supporting local energy efforts as much as possible, supporting local people who are in their businesses, whatever they're doing, and to try to really create communities that support people, support each other, support the local ecosystems, and as much as we can get away from relying upon megalithic, huge institutions that are subject to collapse and that are also, in many ways, don't have our interests at heart, actually. So to really build local community as much as possible, a plant-based local community that's more self-sufficient.
Yes.
Oh, I think you nailed it.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
We both agree. Well, Dr. Liu,
we're looking at. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry?
Yeah.
I said, this is the future. It's going to unfold in front of us.
Literally.
If we just hold that vision, take action. Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, education is literally changing in front of our eyes. Literally. I mean, I just started going back to school. We were on spring break, and we're back in school virtually and online, and it's like nothing changed. We're online, we're connecting with the kids, education is still going on, but it's in a different way, so education literally is changing in front of our eyes, and how we interact and how we be. So I think this is going to have a huge impact on our world, on our society, and how we do business moving forward. So I think this is a wake-up call. I think, Dr. Tuttle, you're right. This is a wake-up call. So
thank you both
Thank
much.
you.
This has been really delightful. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Dr. Liu, Dr. Tuttle, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Yes. Thank you.